Okay, so last one of the day, AI design. So artificial intelligence and machine learning is something very important, and we can use it to aid and facilitate us. So first of all, there's the non-intrusive AI. So non-intrusive is like complementary. So for example, if you wanted to create a color palette, you would tell it roughly what colors you like, or you could give it a few designs that you like, and it will generate a color palette based on the input of the user. Also, non-intrusive AI could be sort of certain designs of web assets or wireframes. So for example, buttons and standard layouts and things like that. Very non-intrusive. It's not trying to replace the designer, but it's trying to aid them with good colors. I see some great designs, but the colors in them are terrifying. Like the green is one of those greens you select out of a color palette that is out of the 1980s. Like genuinely, it's awful. So color has a great impact on the user. You can also have textures. You can also tell it what type of assets that you like. So you can say, I like this design, I like this layout, and I like this. And you could pin a few, like in boards. So you could have a collage, if you will, a board of UIs you like. So the layout. Then colors that you like, another board for that. Another board for other features as well. Whatever it is, colors, layout, components, so like how the buttons will look, how will, certain aspects like the text boxes and stuff like that, how would that look? So it's just giving you a basic introduction. Obviously the designer will have to change things and add things in. That's the whole point. We're not trying to get rid of the designer. But what we want to do is aid the designer to create things faster. And also, you can say, I like these illustrations, I like this design. So it can non-intrusively suggest some really great content from the art store and from across the web, really, all the free assets that are available. And it might be able to suggest or hint at some things that are good. So we're trying to improve the speed of developing the design. And the design is the user interface, so that's very, very important. Now, a more obstruct version of the AI is at your own behest. You could say, generate me a wireframe, just see if it works. And it'll generate you a nice wireframe. It will generate you a wireframe mock-up, just like that. So if you say, right, I've got all these artboards, and then what it will do is it will say, right, the smaller artboards, we'll put that on the iPhone screen. We'll make a mock-up of the iPhone. And the slightly larger ones we'll have as a tablet. And the really big ones, we're going to have them on, mocked up in an iMac. So what happens is it looks at all the different sizes of the artboards, and then it actually produces a mock-up from it. And those mock-ups can be predefined styles and so forth. And then, so for example, it could be a Windows Surface, a Windows Phone, and an Xbox or whatever, or a television, and you can have it mocked up across each one of those devices. Or for example, it could be the iPhone and Android, or it could be the iPhone, the MacBook, and also other aspects as well. So that is a really cool thing you can have. You can have different sized artboards, and those artboards will be generated into a mock-up automatically, and then they can change the styles and colors. Again, it's all about just aiding the design to the point where it's better for you as the designer. I find a lot of the time that designers are spending a lot of time on color and style, and sometimes the AI can pick up on inefficiencies. For example, we have designers where I currently work, which I won't mention. They're fantastic designers, but the problem is that sometimes they don't necessarily think about the user interface that well, or even AI can sort of code into the fact that maybe you're creating this application for a device that hasn't got so much memory or hasn't got so much processing power, or you want it to run through the web, so you want it to kind of be small. Well, if that's the case, then the AI should be able to tell you, look, this is a very inefficient way of displaying this data. Here's why. For example, if you wanted to embed everything inside of a map, instead of just show it in an overlay in the corner, you'll probably find that the overlay is more efficient because embedding each one in each little pointer takes a huge amount of processing, thousands and hundreds of thousands of components, if not more, and it can make your program laggy and unresponsive. Also, you can have like super transparent, JPEG images at amazing quality. Unfortunately, the problem is that it's not going to work. I can remember doing it where they had plates of food and the images were so high res, it wasn't worth it. And it had to be PNG, it had to be transparent. It was just complete. It killed even the new iPhone XR. Obviously you can compress the images down, stuff like that, but no, you couldn't get PNGA out of it. So these issues are real, and I think that allowing a design program to not intrusively, because we still want designers to design, but unintrusively allow them to very quickly put mock-ups together. And it's all about making designers more efficient so they can pump out more designs, they can do a lot more with their designs, and they can get more inspiration more quickly and easily. It makes everything more efficient on that level. So comment on this video if you like, but this is basically just getting all these ideas out here so that no one can try and patent it, which I will say that my inventions are already being patented, but I plan to protest such patents. But I knew that I couldn't trust the big companies. They lie through their back teeth, or they just miss things, or whatever it is dishonest, because they're trying to take the idea away from the creator. So I will say the threat is now very, very real. I will say this, the big boys know that this is a serious threat to them. Like, this threatens potentially Microsoft Office. It threatens, it will never threaten any sort of cloud platform, sort of SaaS-based stuff. Not as far as I'm aware. But it is a big threat to them. It's a big threat to the likes of Microsoft, but more in particular Adobe. They're under very big threats, and I've already seen them try and copy my ideas and put them in their own half-assed attempt. But I'm afraid it's just not pass the book with me. And I want to create one of the most beautiful user interfaces and beautiful user experiences that you can possibly have. And I don't think either of those companies will have the taste to deliver on what I'm prepared to deliver. All for free. So it's been roughly a year in the making, but obviously these ideas need to come out. I just want to stress the point that development is going really well. We've got servers set up, we've got the local network set up, we've got local databasing set up. It's looking really great, and I've figured out all the architectural issues that I currently have. But there's a lot of thinking into this because you have to think 20 steps ahead. It's kind of like the more your application has, the faster the car will go. So the faster the car will go, the more you have to look down the road and anticipate any potential bugs. So you're connecting a ton of things together, and you have to be very careful about how you do it. And you have to be very modular. You have to be extremely functional. That's what I've learned. Functional programming is key. And I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased with what we're doing and what we're getting done. And when I say we, it's just me. But what's next? The next big iteration is obviously making sure that Blank Canvas is up and running through the web interface, which it is currently, but it looks terrible. It needs redefining, restyling. But then after that, it's time to establish a community. I'll need a lot of people. So this is not necessarily just programmers. It's also documenters. It's people, if you're learning English, it'll be great if you could double check documentation that I'll bring out. If there's tutorialists, people that make video tutorials, let me know. I can help you out. A lot of other stuff, really. I can help you out with a number of things. And I think it's amazing. So please subscribe, like the videos, make sure that you're all commenting on those videos, showing that wow, this is a great idea. And if you think it's a bad idea, let me know. But the whole point is, I know that things are going the way of machine learning, and I know that that can be very intimidating, saying, oh, this thing could replace designers. But I think the median balance for this is simply to allow the designer to really control aspects of layout. When it comes to color and things like that, we already have that, you know what I mean? You already have color schemes and things like that. So non-intrusively, I want it to be able to compile things together. I see designers spending hours, literally 2 to 3 hours, looking at designs, doing this, and then when they've finished designing it, they've not understood the criteria, for example, on what hardware they're running it on. There's so many devices now that you have to create designs for that, hold on a minute, if your design is not compatible with a lower end device, which is what you're designing for, a mobile application, then this will be able to tell you, look, this design is not really that great. And there's going to be a lot of optimizations in code, whereas this looks really nice and it won't take half as much optimizations as code. So these are the things that we have to factor, and I hope that I can bring them to you very, very soon.